the green Carla Denya, who's this. Well, let's just play it.
This is delicious.
Reform is actually just boosting this baseless far-right narrative and will only deepen divisions when we urgently need leadership and hope instead.
Let me tell her, I couldn't care less what any other political party has to say about these matters. I don't care what other politicians are saying on the television. I don't care what other activists are saying either. I care about the fact that I have an important job to do, and I can see that there is a problem here that needs to be fixed. If it was possible to pretend there wasn't a problem because there wasn't one, I wouldn't be saying there is one. There is a genuine problem in this asylum system, and we need someone to sort it out, not to pretend it doesn't exist, which I'm afraid is one of the things that fuels the division in the first place. My own constituents, since I have been Home Secretary, have been telling me directly of abuses in the visa system that they can see with the evidence of their own eyes long before any officials in Whitehall have ever clocked onto those things. It is a moral responsibility when you see something broken to fix it and to make sure that the fact that it's broken is not fueling division in our country. And let me also say to her, it is Green Party politicians who are absolute hypocrites because they talk great language in here and then oppose asylum accommodation in their own constituencies.
That is, you got to play the Curb Your Enthusiasm music after that, really, haven't you? It's, oh my God, just genuinely delicious.
Why is it doing it? There we go.
Language in here.
I just want to see that again.
Oppose asylum accommodation in their own constituencies.
And for the audio only person, that is a little green pygmy woman going absolutely mental. That was just hilarious. I mean, she really
going mental about something that is evidently true as well. I forget the name. She's one of the. I mean, by the way, Polanski's got about 2 or 3 co-leaders, isn't he? He's got Ali Muslim. Can't remember his surname.
Muffin. And he's got the quite hot posh mad chick.
But the hot posh mad chick is the one who said, you know, they're all doctors and surgeons and architects, but at the same time was vehemently saying they shouldn't be in her community.
Not in her area, because people are complaining. I know, it doesn't really piece it all together in her brain, does she?
So Carla Denya hasn't got a foot to stand on, really. And as I say, it's over. It's ancient. That you know, the basis on which she is standing, it has no place in British politics anymore. That's what we did for 30 years, and that's what got us here, Carla. It's tough shit. You can jump up and down as much as you like, but it is over.
This is a funny one from Caroline Lucas. Speaking of Greens or ex-Greens, Labour's latest attack on asylum seekers is cruel and counterproductive. How does it help community cohesion to hold threats of deportation over vulnerable people? We don't need an arms race with the hard right over asylum. We need safe routes and European cooperation. Hashtag BBC Laura. She hasn't realised yet Elon Musk has deboosted hashtags ages ago. And I just say it's insane that she was ever an MP. On this theme, we've got...
By the way, just so you know, Caroline Lucas, Brighton, Carla Denya, Bristol. These are 2. This is where you go to gobble up the mentals. If you are Polanski, you just go and talk in Bristol, you go and talk in Brighton, and then that proliferates and you end up with all the mentals gobbled up at once.
Yeah, look at Dr. Louise Ward. Today I taught students about Enoch Powell's Rivers of Blood speech. Oh, good. I had to add, in 2025, our Home Secretary echoed his views. Oh, no. 2 key differences. Powell was a Tory and instantly dismissed from his role in the shadow cabinet. I can't believe this is where we are. Maybe it's because that's not where we are. And I just said, imagine being a student with a working brain and having to sit through this bollocks. 5.5 thousand. 5.4 thousand likes. How about this one? Philip Proudfoot. We've now reached a stage where the Labour government is taking direct policy inspiration from Nazi Germany. What can you say?
Do any of them know? I mean, have any of them read Enoch Powell? I mean, Rivers of Blood is one speech.
Have any of them read The Austrian Painter? That's what I thought you were going to say.
No.
Have any of them read My Struggle?
The colouring on the tattoos coming on a tree. I can't wait for our special episode where I get out my painter tattoo. But they haven't read. Yeah. They haven't read Enoch Powell.
Long running joke for fans.
Yeah. 1889 to 1945. R.I.P. That's what I see on my chest.
Yeah, respect.
Respect.
pour your drink out for the Austrian painter.
Everyone does a shot because Paul's mentioned
Yeah.
the painter.
Cracking architect,
None of these
cracking painter, had potential as a painter or architect.
exquisite
Go on.
orator.
Yeah,
Which
great point.
yeah, great point. But they haven't read these. You could just say Nazi now. That's all you have to say. It's just like the Nazis. And if you said to that guy, no matter how qualified he was in anything, you went to him, oh, how?
Oh, well, actually, on how I forgot to mention, to be fair to Philip here, I forgot to mention this was in reference to Shabana Mahmood will tomorrow announce that asylum seekers will have their valuable assets like jewelry seized and sold to pay for their accommodation costs. This
Oh, yeah.
drove people
That
absolutely
is a bit
mental.
Nazi-ish.
So much so to the point where people thinking maybe she threw that out there just to then take that away later and say, look, see, I've compromised, which would be quite clever. This was like on the sillier end of like, we'll seize the jewelry. And Farage said it's not really going to happen, but it's just a kind of shows that we're tough. Look at us seizing jewelry. It's just kind of, and the amount of people it would apply to is so trivial anyway, and it wouldn't probably happen.
It's not going to happen. And even if it did, what are they going to? What we're going to set on GB News? They
By
got
the way,
that
was
gold
Hitler
advert.
really mainly? Was he really? Oh, no, I've just broken any YouTube thing by saying his name. We're probably allowed to say his name. Was he really mainly known for snatching jewelry?
No,
It started with that.
No.
That was the gateway drug, really.
no, not really. And I mean, I'm not. How much jewelry have these guys got?
I
It's
know.
not something I've
Well,
noticed.
Zia Yusuf said they're not Lil Wayne coming over with their chains, which I think was fair. And it said, someone said someone had a big thing about this person would lose their engagement. He's like, no, well, they specifically said it won't apply to wedding rings, so you could assume it wouldn't apply to engagement rings. But I saw some posts freaking out about that. It's like, I think that's quite humane. It won't apply to wedding rings. It's
Yeah,
just if you come with a
just
massive
take it off.
chain, we'll be like, we'll have that.
We'll have that. Yeah, if they got a big Star of David on, we'll take it off.
David. Yeah, it's very likely. Yeah, good point. Did you see? I don't know how much time we got, but did you see also this quite interesting point from Nick Timothy that we don't get the figures. So this policy has been very influenced by the Danish policy, and she's openly taken inspiration from that. But the one difference is she's not going to release the data that the Danes get to see. Let's have a quick look.
Yeah, based on the benches opposite, disagree with us. But I share the Home Secretary's admiration for the Danish model. And the Danish Finance Ministry publishes data regularly on the fiscal contribution of different profiles of migrants. This shows in Denmark that migrants from MENAT, the Middle East, North Africa, Pakistan, and Turkey are net recipients over the course of their lifetimes. Will the Home Secretary ensure that the Treasury publishes the same data in the same way in this country?
Well, we keep all statistics under review, as he knows, and as was the case, I believe, when he was an advisor to a former Home Secretary. And let me say to him, the principle that underpins all of these reforms is about fairness and contribution. We believe most people want to be able to contribute to this country because the refugees themselves recognize that is the best way for them to have stability and security in their lives, and it is what is needed for the wider community as well. And we think that all refugees, if they're on the protection work and study route, will have that opportunity. I'm not interested in models that start separating out different nations from one another. Once somebody has got status in our country, they are on a path to becoming one of us if they are working and contributing.
Okay, so she didn't want to see the different data or to show us the different data, and it was quite of different nationalities and how they contribute. And it was quite gutsy, you could say, of Nick Timothy to mention one country that's her actual background, because he did mention Pakistan. So he wanted to see the data. She said, I'm not going to separate people up like that. I don't see why we shouldn't see the data. If immigration's so good, right, if we're so enriched by it, why can't we see exactly who's enriching us the most? What's wrong with that, Paul?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. The trouble with that is it would show exactly what they don't want us to see, which is that what she first said in the first part of the statement is statistically and largely incorrect. Most people don't come here because they want to contribute to society, because that's the way they see they can best integrate. Most people want to come here and just exist here, stay within their own culture, stay within their own clans, and not contribute whatsoever. And in fact, take away from society by overwhelmingly committing more sexual assaults and violent crimes, but per capita, per head, as a ratio across all.
You mean for certain groups? When you say most people, although yes, overall we have seen that immigration is now is a net negative economically, but certain groups are disproportionately represented for certain crimes. They kind of
Absolutely, that's what I do mean. And one of the reasons that it looks like migration's come down is because we're leaving. 257,000 British people have gone. No, thank you, not for me anymore.
yeah, that's
And
tragic.
I support them in that. It's not something I'm planning to do. I believe in this country, but I tell you what, they believed in
I
this
don't.
country too.
I
They
don't support them because they're leaving. If you're really persecuted, and I have some noble exceptions for people like my friend Callum, who has been stopped on terrorism charges at the airport, even though he hadn't done anything. Obviously, he'd just gone to some controversial countries as part of his dark tourism that he does for YouTube, places like Russia and Afghanistan. When you have friends like that, I can understand he might not want any part of it, and he's a young person. If you're being politically persecuted, and if we're at the point where we really are being more than we already are, we are kind of are already, like Lucy Conley. But if we're facing like some level of persecution, I can say, okay, I can understand why you're going to leave. In general, though, you shouldn't leave. You should stay and fight.
Yeah,
Just my opinion.
yeah. Look, I still think that these people believed in something that has been smashed to smithereens, and perhaps they are making decisions for themselves and for their families that are best for them, and would probably come back if things were restored to probably about, I don't know, 1998. I'm not sure quite where the last relatively okay days were.
And maybe
Uh,
they'll come back with a less ridiculous tax policy, less ridiculous budget if a reform got in or something. But yeah.
Potentially. So I don't want to, because I would want those people to come back, by the way. I want people to contribute. These people have the means to leave. So they had the means to stay and contribute, but they decided, or they had, or it had become apparent to them that it didn't matter what they did, it was going to work against them. Keir Starmer is presiding over the biggest catastrophe British culture has ever seen. And I would say to someone like Carla Denyer, you want to take us further. This reminds me of when we were in pandemic and people were saying we need to lock down quicker and sooner. Sorry, quicker and harder. This is Carla Denyer. This is the equivalent of that. She wants more migration. The one thing that's killing us, she wants more of. Who is she supporting in that?
Yeah, no, it's just supporting the destruction of the country in the West. It's not. It's not a viable position, as I said. It shouldn't even be on the political map.
No, she represents somebody with those views, but it's
Yeah,
not.
people who hate the country, or
Yeah,
idiots, or idiots. There's always idiots.
well, it is definitely a combination of the two. But make no mistake, right? There are people that were born here that have white color skin that absolutely hate this country. They absolutely hate this country. They hate their daddy, and they see their daddy as the reason that this country is the way it is, and they therefore hate this country as well.
That's
They
that's the one thing Shabana Moo didn't say. You hate your daddy. That's the reason. I'd love to see that. Just
that would have
standing
been
up in
incredible.
Parliament. Daddy issues. My
But
daddy came home. Yours didn't. That's why you want to destroy the country.
that's
And then she
exactly
just
what's
goes
going
like,
on.
"Great."
These
Which
people
she did
are
anyway.
these people are broken. They're absolutely broken, and they stand for nothing. Absolutely nothing. They used to just be quiet voices on the periphery shouting shit. Now they've got seats in Parliament. They're producing policy, and for long periods of time have been in power. And
You
Keir
reminded me
Starmer should
briefly
be
of the.
nowhere near power.
Well, he won't
The
be
man doesn't
soon.
like politics. The man doesn't know what he believes in. He's built a cabinet of fucking idiots. And I've sworn lots on this podcast today. I'll try to refrain in the future as I've done in the past. But we're at a point now where I can't imagine anything worse happening than maybe some of the people that are vying to take his position.